the whole sales process is kind of like, mechanic spots the opportunity. That opportunity then goes to the office. The office does their work. Then the customer gets the proposal.
Okay.
And then the mechanic, of course, follows up. What Bolt is giving mechanics ownership and power to handle that entire sales process.
Hello, and welcome to Elevator Tools and Tech, a special series from the Elevator Careers podcast, where we spotlight the latest innovations, tools, suppliers, and technology driving the vertical transportation industry. In each episode, we sit down with the creators, engineers, and solution providers who are helping elevator companies work smarter, safer, and more efficiently. This episode of Elevator Tools and Tech is brought to you by ElevatorZip, creators of ElevatorZip and the all-new Bolt, an AI-powered estimation and proposal tool for elevator mechanics and sales reps. Learn more at ElevatorZip.com. Now let's dive in. Brad, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I'm excited to be able to talk with you again. I always enjoy our conversations, and I'm excited to talk about this new software that you're calling Bolt. And so before we dive into that, though, tell me a little bit about ElevatorZip and how you got to where you are right now.
Cool. Yeah, ElevatorZip is a tool for elevator companies to drive more repair sales. And the main problem that I'm trying to solve is that most, in fact, probably all elevator companies have a surplus of sales opportunities, meaning they have more sales opportunities than what they're proposing. So they could be making a lot more money. So
they're missing some is what I'm hearing you say.
They're missing some. Exactly. Especially when, this is based on my time in the industry. I would try and get leads from mechanics for things like soft starters, door operators. Mechanics would say that they sent me everything, and then I would follow them around and I would see opportunities at every building we went to. So the opportunities that are actually in the field are many, and what's actually getting to the office is very few.
Gotcha.
So in short, elevator companies could be making a lot more money with repair sales. And the way to solve that problem with ElevatorZip is to get mechanics more involved. And that's what ElevatorZip does right now. It helps and drives more sales opportunities, like sales leads coming into the office with images and details and capturing that information from the field. And then that's the first part of the app, which is the field app. And there's a second app, which is a web app that the office users log into, sales reps, operations, etc. That's where they receive the information and communicate with the field.
How do you motivate mechanics to? I mean, you had said I followed them around, and there were all kinds of opportunities. How have you changed that dynamic so that now they maybe care more, or are willing to notice more, or submit more, or?
Well, there's a few things that we do. One, in ElevatorZip app is built around that. It's how do you get more? So there's a few ways. We do leaderboards. There's competitions. Mechanics can earn commission, and they could see the commission that as it comes through.
That's awesome.
They get notified when commission's earned, things are sold, when they're paid. There's companies are doing we have a tool called Incentive Boost, which is like a monthly product campaign where offices can target like double commission or maybe like a Weber grill for, whoever does the most of this type of sale for the specific month. And there's a lot of tools that are in place to drive, to incentivize, to friendly competition, and to get more of those leads coming from the office.
So it sounds like, they've got skin in the game now, right? Because if they can actually earn a commission, well, that didn't happen before that I am aware of, right? It didn't exist.
Well, some companies that we work with did commission in the past. And part of the problem that we solved with those companies is that they gave commission, but mechanics would send in the lead, and they didn't know if it was proposed, and they weren't able to tie their commission back to the actual sale. Now with ElevatorZip, the mechanic can send in a lead for like a soft starter or a door operator, and they're notified when it's proposed. And as soon as it's proposed, they can see their commission potential. So every time they go back to the building, they're looking at their phone saying, okay, at this job, I know that I can earn this much commission for this and this. I'm going to track down the building owner and remind them to buy this upgrade. And then, of course, when it does convert to a sale, the mechanic is getting a notification that they just earned, $120 on the door operator at some building, and they could track that all the way to their paycheck. So a lot of companies we work with already have commission. And then also a lot of companies we work with, they're turning on commission for the first time.
Very cool. Very good. So tell me a little bit more about Bolt then, because you've got this new product. Is it an add-on? Is it a replacement? Is it something totally different?
So Bolt is a brand new tool that's an AI first tool. So there's some capabilities that mechanics don't have in the field that, part of the sales process that has to be done in the office. Okay. So right now, ElevatorZip is really good at getting mechanics to send in those sales leads to the office, capture the information,
sure,
get the right images, find the opportunity in the first place, send it to the office. And then after it's proposed, it's good for mechanics to, follow up with the building and close the sale.
Right.
But what happens in the office, again, there's a second part of the ElevatorZip app, which is the web app for sales reps. There's a lot that happens in the office. And that's things like checking the contract, whether or not something could be proposed or not, calculating the total cost for, the permits, the material, the labor, and then, putting it into a spreadsheet to come up with the final sales price. And then once you have the sales price, putting it on a Word document, converting it to a PDF, and then finally sending it to the customer. All of those things are not done in the field right now.
Well, and so they're not done by mechanics, right? They're done by sales reps, sales admins, somebody else, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So the whole sales process is kind of like, mechanic spots the opportunity. That opportunity then goes to the office. The office does their work. Then the customer gets the proposal.
Okay.
And then the mechanic, of course, follows up. What Bolt is giving mechanics ownership and power to handle that entire sales process.
Oh, wow.
So now mechanics can find that sales opportunity. They could create an estimate for it. So calculate the price, kind of like the spreadsheet. They could convert it to a actual proposal document, send it to the customer, get a signature from the customer electronically, all while they're on site in a very quick amount of time.
So just to clarify, you've basically taken all of that office work kind of out of the picture. I'm still getting done, but it's getting done essentially by the mechanic on the app in real time before they even walk out the door. They may have a signature.
That's correct. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
So a lot of the things that happen it's like administrative work and a little bit of research that has to happen. And with the capabilities of AI that we have today, a lot of that could be done on the fly instantly. So so they don't have to go to the office. You can actually just propose and sell them right then and there. Now, there are still things that would take, very complicated things that would take a little bit, or a lot more research,
right, that
can't be proposed on site. But it would still go through the same process. It would still go to the office as a lead, and the office would then run with it.
Gotcha. Are you able to show us a demo, kind of walk us through what this could look like?
Yep. Okay. So yeah, you want me to walk you through real quick?
Yeah. So we're looking at Bolt right now, correct?
Yes. So this is Bolt. So this, again, I mentioned that there's two products of ElevatorZip before Bolt. And those were the field app for the mechanic to send in the lead and to communicate with the office, and then the office web app where the office receives all of the leads and has visibility over what's going on in the field. That web app in the office will never go away. There's just less work to be done in the office. This would replace what the mechanics have in their hands today and give them much more capabilities. So we could walk through a quick demo.
Yeah, great.
And I'll show you how the AI walks them through everything and how you can get a proposal signed and sent to the customer and signed in basically under 2 minutes.
Perfect. Yeah.
So we're just going to go ahead and say we're going to do a soft starter upgrade.
Okay.
And I'm going to send it to my customer, Sarah Jennings, the mechanic, and I'm with her right now. And I'm at her location at Central Park Tower in New York City. So I'll hit next. And I want to do the soft starter on the kitchen hydro. That's right here. And I'm basically halfway done at this point. And what's happening behind the scenes is every edit and everything that you modify, AI has visibility over everything you're doing and can make recommendations and can look at the service contract to see if this is actually something that you can propose. So we're on step 2.
What would it say if that was something you couldn't, or would it stop you, or would it?
So right now, that's a good point to bring this up. This is the full capability mode. So this is probably, I'm showing you what a mechanic would use, or maybe what you would have a sales rep use after you're positive that they're capable of creating high quality, profitable estimates and proposals.
Okay.
But you'd probably put some bumpers on in the beginning. And in the beginning, you'd probably have mechanics just sending leads to the office, except for the difference is now they're done. They're saying, here's the spreadsheet, here's all the research I did, here's the proposal ready to go to the customer. And then if that same mechanic has a lot of them done, and you're like, I'm at the point where I'm confident in them, then you could just let them run with it.
But you can keep that oversight. In other words, if maybe I starting out, I'm not sure if which mechanics I fully trust with this to send it all the way to the customer, but I can keep those checks in place. I can look over it. Hey, this looks great. And sounds like at some point you could say, you know what, I trust this person, and therefore I can give them permission. I may keep the bumpers on somebody else, though. Is that fair to say?
Exactly. Yes. Mm-hmm. So in this case, so it knows that we're on the scope of work screen. So we're going to ask AI right now, which we're calling Zip. We're going to ask Zip, how's this look so far? And here we go. So a couple quick things that they brought up.
Cool.
First, they're asking if the new starter will fit in the existing controller box, which is critical because if it doesn't, that will drive up the cost quite a bit. That's a big deal.
Sure.
And then they're saying, since this is a grease and oil contract, this is billable. So thumbs up, proceed. This is definitely something you could sell. And then they're giving some recommendations on the scope of work. Looks like they want to focus on more of the benefits. So we're good there. So we can move on to the next step. And this is the estimate. So these are all of this is my material cost. This is my labor. 4 hours team, miscellaneous. I got some parking in here, my margin. And again, a lot of these things could be invisible to the mechanic, like the profit margin and stuff. But right now we're looking at this on the highest level of, I guess, approval.
Okay.
So again, the AI has visibility over all of this. So I could say, how's this look?
So it's not that AI is stopping or making decisions. It's just more of an advisor, almost, hovering over the shoulder saying, oh, hey, is this going to fit? Oh, hey, per the contract, yes, this is good, and things like that.
Exactly. So that is the role, and that is how the AI is trained, is not to make any decisions. Instead is just to bring up things like, did you consider this? This is something you should consider. For example, as we already saw, the controller box.
Very cool.
So anyway, this points out that I'm missing a permit, travel time, wire conduit if the box is needed, of course, and they're making some recommendations on the price itself. So we can get into this a little bit more and ask even more questions, but this gives you a general idea that it's helping you every step of the way. And like you said, it's not making any edits. It's like you have a superintendent or a sales rep along with the mechanic now with this AI. So then when we're in the last step, and this is all the details of the proposal. So, proposal number, all these details, and then we're going to preview it before we send it to the customer. Let's say we're with this Sarah Jennings right now. This is the proposal. And then we're going to go ahead and send this directly to them.
Very cool. So you've like you say, you've really cut out a huge part of the in-office processes. I'm just curious, do you have any guess as to whether people in the office are going to look at this and go, I don't like that, right? It's threatening, it's scary. What's your take on that?
I mean, anytime there's a shift, anytime there's a new thing and a new way of getting something done, I would say that could possibly and probably would happen. Mm-hmm. I think most people would realize that, a lot of this stuff could be done in a much quicker way, and they could see the benefit of, giving a customer a proposal immediately. A proposal usually happens after some type of event that happens with the customer on site. That could be, a shutdown that happened. That could be a safety related event that happened. That could just be a conversation between the mechanic and the customer where they say, we noticed you have an old mechanical starter.
Right.
But whatever that event is, you want to get them a proposal as quickly as possible, because the quicker you can get it to them, the higher the likelihood of converting to a sale it is.
Well, and especially if like you say, there's a shutdown and we get it going again, well, then it's definitely not as urgent now because, hey, it's working.
Yes, exactly. And that's one of the major problems right now in our industry, is that we just have so many sales opportunities.
Right.
And when you have one sales rep and 10 mechanics, and all of these mechanics are sending tons of opportunities to the sales rep cannot keep up with all of them. And especially some of those smaller things. If a sales rep has a $2 or $3 million repair sales plan that they need to hit for the year, they're not going to spend much time doing, $800 phones or, $2,500 detector edges or $6,000.
Yeah.
Right. So there's many of these small things that are extremely profitable that the mechanic could send directly to the customer immediately.
Right.
And if the sales rep's not getting to those things, because they probably shouldn't, because they're not going to meet their plan by getting thousands of phones sold, then these things are getting delayed and they're not getting sent to the customer. And the likelihood of it converting to a sale 30 days after that event is much, much lower. And in this case, this is exactly what the customer sees, and they could approve this electronically right now. I could sign for this and hit approved. And now the mechanic just completed the entire process of the estimate, the proposal, sending it to the customer, and getting a signature.
Wow. Yeah.
Before they even leave the job.
Well, I think what I'm seeing, and from what you're saying, you gave the example of one sales rep. I mean, those folks need to be going out slaying bigger lions, whatever, dragons, right? They need to be, getting new customers. They need to be, working on some bigger opportunities, perhaps, than some of this smaller stuff. So if you've enabled this process with the mechanic and boom, 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 it's almost like they can go from, doing an inspection or fixing the shutdown to sending the proposal. It's like they could show up the next day with their tools, as long as they have the parts, and be doing this work.
Absolutely. And there's actually a ton of work right now that could happen. There's so many times the mechanic is on site and they're fixing something and they just can't get it back in service. And they could just say to the customer, you know what? I could stay for 3 hours, but I just need you to sign this proposal. And they could just sell 3 hours of overtime, and the mechanics would love that because they're going to get double time for that amount of time. And the customer loves it because they just want things to happen now.
I just want it working.
And I think the sales reps and everyone else in the organization would like it too, because you don't want to waste time on these small, low value things. They should just get done quickly.
Right.
So there's a lot more things the sales rep could focus on that are going to move the needle in a much bigger way, instead of these smaller things that could be handled pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, and so tell me, I mean, in a typical, I guess we would call this a repair, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know that there's probably different categories of repairs, but how long have you seen some of these proposals take by the time the mechanic sends the information to the salesperson in the office and they turn it around and, all of that? How long does that take?
So the average time, based on the information that we have, is typically around somewhere between 2 and 4 weeks. Now that varies quite a bit between different companies and organizations, but there's definitely a bottleneck in getting proposals out the door.
Sure.
And that's a good problem that every elevator company has, because that just means there's way more sales opportunities and a way to make a lot more money right now that they're not taking advantage of.
Sure.
So 3 weeks is normal.
Okay. And that assumes, I mean, you had talked about, the priorities and maybe the salesperson's, maybe they're trying to, work on a really big deal. And so these little ones could sit and languish for even longer if there's just not enough attention on them. And what you're doing is what it looks like is you're really putting this power back into the hands of the mechanic to just kind of shorten that whole process.
Absolutely. And this is based on my experience selling repair when I worked for multiple elevator companies. My time working at ElevatorZip, which is just focused on repair and speaking to mechanics. There are many, many mechanics that have been frustrated with me when I was a sales rep, and many mechanics that I speak to that are frustrated that things are not getting proposed fast enough. And even worse, there are customers that feel the same way. Things are not getting proposed fast enough, or sometimes they're feeling that, why are things failing inspections? I should have got a proposal before it failed an inspection.
Yeah.
But everybody wants the proposal to happen and get to them quicker, especially the customer.
Yeah.
And everyone knows that is the best way to have it done. Every plumber that shows up to your house is able to send you a beautiful estimate, and you could sign it right then and there. But in the elevator industry, there's so many kind of hurdles that are in place that the elevator industry hasn't done it yet. But now with AI, it's possible.
Very cool. Very cool. I chuckled because I remember I had a roof leak years ago, and this roofer came. He climbed up on my roof, and he's standing, 2 stories up, staring at me, and he's basically negotiating with me. Right? If I have to come down, it's going to cost you like hundreds of dollars more than if I can fix it right now. Are you willing to? I'm like, oh my gosh, what? It was just, obviously in his mind, it's worth it, right? But there was a little bit of pressure in that sale, and I'm just remembering that experience. But it's almost like the mechanics now have the ability, barring that I can't get the parts, right? But assuming I can, then there's no other obstacle, and I can just make this happen.
That's so funny that you bring this up, because this actually came from a company that we're working with us on right now. And this particular guy said that he wants to basically have his mechanics just try and sell as much overtime as possible. And he wants them to use that same tactic, which is, I'm here right now. This is shut down. I could fix this right now and stay a little bit more time,
right?
Or I can come back. And, if you don't sign this, I can come back on Saturday or Sunday. This is like on a Friday night.
Right. It's going to cost you a lot more.
Yeah. And then it's going to be travel time and everything else. If you sign it now, I am here. I could spend a few more hours, and there's a good chance that I can get it done. So something similar came out of a conversation that I had as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of wisdom in that, right? If I'm here and I have what it takes and I just need a little bit more time, why wait 3 more weeks and have to, charge more ultimately?
Yep. So most sales in the elevator industry will not fall in that category. Typically, you have to get the right materials.
Sure.
You have to a team of guys to do the work. So most would not happen that way. But still, if you could just get the proposal to the customer quicker, you're definitely going to sell a lot more.
Absolutely. And I mean, you've seen that over the last several years running, ElevatorZip, and you had told me, right, that there are a lot more opportunities. There's a lot more getting proposed. There's just a lot more, you're planting a lot more seeds. You're going to see a lot more things sprouting. And this obviously is shortening that cycle and just kind of, bringing it much, much quicker is what I'm seeing. So
exactly.
I'm curious. I mean, if what's kind of the learning curve? I mean, is there the demo seemed pretty straightforward, but is there a learning curve if I'm a mechanic to okay, now I have the ability to do this whole process, and where would you say what would you say is the hardest thing about that?
I guess so. Anyone that uses the ElevatorZip app right now would probably be pretty familiar with how this works.
Okay.
This would just basically, it's almost like taking the same process that they're using right now, but, handling the office part as well. So to train something like this, it's probably just going to be, looking at, the results. And like I said before, putting bumpers in place to make sure that mechanics are creating proposals and they're getting sent to the office first. And that's kind of like the phase one. And then once you realize that mechanics can send them to the office and they're all pretty quality, then you could allow them, basically turn on that capability to send it right to the customer. But maybe you only allow them to send 15 different templates. Like, I just want to let you sell prints, pit ladders, soft starters, and a handful of other things. And that's all you could do now.
Right.
And then the next phase would be like, okay, now I'm going to let you do anything. Like, as long as it's below this threshold, like below, $30,000 or $40,000, you can go out and just sell it. I trust you at this point. I trust that the AI is going to coach you to do the right things. And in the end, we're going to end up making a lot more money than we would have otherwise.
I'm just curious. I mean, just imagining, being a business leader and just kind of releasing this into the hands of your frontline team. I mean, I guess they do that with sales folks already, right? But it's just kind of one more step removed. Do you ever get people saying, "Yeah, that's a little too much," or I'm afraid to kind of hand over that ability, or is it more like open arms? No, give it to me right now, kind of thing.
Yeah, there's, I'm sure there's going to be some companies that would say something along the lines of, I don't want my mechanics focusing on sales. I want them to focus on solving the customer's problems and getting elevators back in service, et cetera. But the reality is, taking care of the customer is, making those recommendations. Equipment doesn't last forever. You need to start giving customers options and allowing them to budget for things. And the true way to take care of your customer is, yes, getting elevators back in service as quickly as possible, but also saying, look, we got it back in service today, but I noticed the following few items that you really need to consider over the next 6 months, 1 year or 2 years. But yeah, like I said, it's a big shift in an organization, and I think it'll be good.
Yeah, no, I like the way you said that, because what kind of dawned on me is this little light bulb going off over my head that you really are not just empowering the mechanic, but you're really empowering the customer, because once they realize that Bob the mechanic is here and he can give me a proposal and I can look at it and I can, maybe I've got the budget. Maybe if I don't spend it this year, it's going to be gone. It really empowers them to take a more active role in upkeep of their own equipment. And so, they may be wanting to, to talk to the mechanic and say, hey, tell me what's going on. I mean, I know a lot of times with my vehicles, right? I mean, if they're proposing something, I don't know. I'm just going to pay for it, and you probably got a lot of customers like that I'd rather invest now than deal with the aftermath if I don't.
Yeah, definitely. And the best, like I said, the best thing is to give options, and it's all about timing too. You want to propose things as quickly as possible and whenever the conversation happens, because if something fails later on and you haven't proposed it yet, you don't want to just follow up with a proposal like, they kind of get mad at you in that case. If you've proposed it and planted the seeds ahead of time, the future failures help close the sale. Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. So if I wanted to get my company started now, how long would it take, and what's kind of the process?
So we're still figuring out the exact process with all of this, because this is so new, but it's going to be very similar to an ElevatorZip rollout. So a Bolt rollout, which again is our AI product that I just showed you, a Bolt rollout would probably be, anywhere from launching a phase 1 would take about a day or 2.
Cool.
And really that's just giving us the customer list, and a few other details that will help you set up.
Okay.
If there's any mechanics that you want to give them, the top level approval or permissions, then, it's just figuring out those. And then it's just having mechanics create some leads or create some proposals and send them as leads. So a rollout could take, so kind of like the phase 1 would be like, a week, and then a little bit more training, another week. So I'd say 2 weeks.
Awesome. And so if I wanted to sign up today, or, what would be the first step? How would I reach out? How would I kind of get that ball rolling?
So you can go to ElevatorZip.com, and there's a big button that says book a demo. You could book a demo there. I'll show you, a much more thorough demonstration of this, answer any questions that you have.
Sure.
You could also email me at info@ElevatorZip.com. You could find me on LinkedIn, but the main thing is just go to ElevatorZip.com and book a demo.
Awesome. Brad, this is exciting. And it feels like it's going to be a bit of a game shifter as far as, how a lot of the work gets proposed and completed. And obviously we'll have to wait and see. But thank you for being on the show today. I've enjoyed it, and wish you the best as you continue to build your business.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thanks again for listening to Elevator Tools and Tech from the Elevator Careers podcast. Please subscribe or visit us at youtube.com/@elevatorcareers. And please remember to visit ElevatorZip, creators of ElevatorZip and Bolt, the AI-powered estimate and proposal tool. You can find them online at elevatorzip.com. Until next time, stay safe.